Hello everybody, here's your Niall Sebastian Power-Sieger. I produced this video because I want to speak about cash, money, dollars, euros. So the stuff you need to spend it. When I surf through the internet, especially in Facebook groups where ghosts are the topic and the communication with creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ghosts, I often read from people which are unable to communicate with such creatures, that those people which are able to do so should not be allowed to take money for that if they help others. For example, I'm able to communicate with ghosts, so creatures which have lived as human beings before. These people would say, if I help others, that creatures which have lived as human beings before them can communicate with them, can reach them, and that they can understand it, I should not be allowed to take money for that. Well, first of all, we live in capitalism, right? It is capitalism. I don't like it, to be absolutely honest here. I think capitalism is totally fucked up. It sucks totally. And it's also creating a lot of bad moods between humans. So I don't like capitalism. I want to make that point very clear, because it's stupid compared to other ways people could live together and could share stuff. It is just stupid. It's like Middle Ages stuff, but there was no evolution regarding capitalism, and we live in a capitalist world. So those people which always write in those Facebook groups, for example, that people like me should not be allowed to take money if we help others to communicate with their ancestors or with ghosts, I think those people are a little bit stupid, and that's why I'm producing that video. And I want to be absolutely clear. See, now I'm producing this video. In this video, there are gonna be no ghost, no creature gonna present himself. I'm just gonna speak out by myself, me now. I have a ghost by myself. I am a ghost too, but I'm a human too, so that's easy for you to understand. So this video is not documenting universal communication. That's the point I wanted to make clear, because you will find in the internet videos where I did document situations where I did communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before. So ghosts, how other people would describe that. So some people in the internet, they think if people like me help other humans which are unable to communicate with their own ancestors or ghosts, we should not be allowed to take money for that. So I have a question. If I, for example, spend 6 days a week practicing universal communication, documenting it, uploading the data and all that stuff, that costs a lot of time because my PC is very slow. How do you think I can make money in the same time? And if you realize I can't, because I'm doing that stuff in that time and I'm not getting paid for it, is it not like a punishment if people like me are not allowed to take money for that, if we invest so much of our lifetime? Because in the end, I have maybe worked a week and I do not get money. Others, they will go to the cinema, they will go to the restaurant, they will book a flight for their holidays. I will go to the supermarket and buy the cheapest of the cheapest stuff, and I have to eat shit because I'm helping others. And too many people on planet Earth think it would be not okay to take money for that, is what I think if I remember some comments in all these Facebook ghost groups. So for those people which think people like me should be not allowed to take money if they help others, I think you guys are living behind the moon and on the reality. I do often help by myself others, as soon as they want that, at least, to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before. And I do not take money for that. I received a little bit money in between, that's true, but in general, so far I did not take money for that. What's the result in my life? The result is I'm always broke. And because I'm able to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before, by the body sharing method, which means they can connect in symbiosis to my human body and can influence my human body, which I then cannot read as universal communication. Okay? Because of the fact that my human body is getting influenced very often, very badly and hardcore, it is not possible for me to have an ordinary job. That's a side effect of the universal communication. And if people like me are not allowed to take money for stuff we are able to do, for example, like communicating with ghosts and helping other living humans, how do you think I'm able to enjoy my life in a capitalist world? How do you think I can afford my food? How do you think I can afford my drinks? How do you think I can afford to travel to the places where the humans live, which are in the position that I'm in contact with one of their ancestors and they want to communicate with them there where they live? You can stop thinking. It is very simple. I'm unable to afford these journeys financially. What do that mean? That will mean that a human like me often gets a contact with a creature which have lived as a human being before. And then these creatures do communicate, see, I have living family members now. Can you help me out and can you inform them that I do live even without my human body, that I do exist, that I'm able to communicate? And can you try to send them a life signal? Can you maybe travel to the place where they live so that I can present myself directly in front of them there where they are to communicate with them? What do you imagine if I have such contacts, what my answer is? No, I cannot afford it. Because there is not the support from other living humans I would need to help better, is the simple answer. And part of the answer is maybe because there are so many people in the internet writing bullshit about a situation some humans are in. And with the bullshit, I mean that these humans like me should be not allowed to take money if we help others. So I want to be very clear and I want to explain that a little bit more so that you can understand that. I had a normal life. In my lifetime, I had my own restaurants, I had business going on, my own business. I also was an employee. So I had a lot of jobs in my life and I did a lot of work and I was able to spend, let's say, €1,000 often. €1,000 each month for fun and for costs, for traveling, for food, for having money on the cell phone, so to be able to communicate the most easy way. And then my mom died. And she died and I did connect with her. So she did connect herself with my human body in symbiosis. And she's not the only one, other creatures did as well. And for communication purpose, they're influencing my human body. And that influence is like a downgrade. That's a fact. It's a real huge downgrade for me as a living human, and I explain why. Before in my life, I was able to remember all the stuff. Today, because my human body is getting influenced by ghosts or other creatures which have lived as human beings before, I forget everything directly. Which means in a job, it is not possible to work, because if somebody would give you an advice or would give you an order or whatever, you just forget it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm unable to do a job, to earn money. There's another reason. If creatures are connected in symbiosis to my human body to communicate with me, they create pain for communication purpose in the best case. And with all that pain in my body, I'm also not able to work. So I'm living in Germany. I'm living on social benefits. Since I'm connected in symbiose with creatures like my mom. So with creatures which can influence my human body and which have lived as human beings before. It's very complex. It's not possible for me to describe all the effects I have in my human body. I have to feel, I have to suffer because I practice universal communication, and creatures which have lived as human beings before do influence my human body. But I can make very clear that the week have 7 days, right? And from 7 days, normally 5 to 6 days I would be unable to practice a normal job. And that's the one part in my life. The other part is I'm able to communicate with ancestors. I can reach ancestors. I can let other creatures which have lived as human beings before and which are able to fly, I can let them search for specific creatures. They can find them and bring them here, and then I can communicate with them. And that's what people like me can use to help other people which are very sad, which are suffering because they think their own ancestors died and they never will see them again, or they never will be able to communicate again with them, what is often wrong. So if I surf through the internet, if I surf through ghost groups, I often see a lot of comments from people which have no idea what it really means to be able to communicate with ghosts. They have no idea how bad a human life like mine can go on as soon as you are connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before, and as soon as they start to influence your human body. They have no idea what that means for people like me. But they have a lot of negative comments. And I ask myself, where do all these stupid opinions come from? It even goes further. And that's what I'm going to explain to all these people which do have no idea, because they have not the lifetime experience. See, if a creature which have lived as a human being before is connecting in symbiose to my human body, for example, one of your ancestors. Maybe you have ancestors which already died, I'm sure of that. Imagine the following. One of them do connect in symbiose to my human body, to live in my human body and to communicate with me for a while. Let's say for a week. And these creatures, if they are connected in symbiose to my human body, they can also use my eyes, my mouth, my senses. Now imagine the following fact. Because of you maybe, and stupid comments in the internet that people like me should not be allowed to take money if we help others with the ghost communication, because of that fact, maybe I'm broke. It's not the only reason, but just imagine that for a moment. And now one of your ancestors is sitting in my human body, connected to my senses, and is communicating to me, "Nile, let's go out for a drink." What will be my answer? No, I'm sorry. I know you can use my human body. I know I could drink a drink and you could get the feeling because you can use my senses. But I'm sorry, I'm broke. Now this creature is contacting me again saying, "No, there's a museum. I want to go to the museum. I want to see with your eyes like a human, a specific picture." Imagine my answer. I'm sorry to you, the creature connected in symbiose to my human body, the ancestor of one of the humans in that scenario. I'm sorry, we're not gonna be able to go to the museum because I do not have the money to pay for the ticket. Next day, Same creature is contacting me again and is telling me, hey, Niall, see, there's a concert going on. I want to go to the concert, and because I'm in symbiosis connected to your human body, I then can use your eyes and ears to watch the concert. Maybe you're gonna be able now to imagine my answer. I'm gonna say no, the ticket gonna cost 60 euro. But I have to live as a poor man. Because people do not understand my living situation with you in my human body, and that all of you creatures can connect in symbiosis to my human body, and they do not invest in a better situation for you and for me. Next day, the creature is contacting me again inside my human body. In this scenario, the creature, one of the ancestors of one of you, is living inside my human body the whole time. And now he's contacting me and saying, hey, my family members, they live there. Let's say in Dortmund. I'm in Bonn right now, that's in Germany. Dortmund is a little bit far away. But not too far away, if you have money. Now the creature is telling me, hey, Niall, let's go to Dortmund. Because I want to see my family members and I want to try to reach them. So you can explain to them the communication methods I can use, which do not harm your body too much and which do not harm them. And I can use one of these communication methods, them, to communicate with them directly in Dortmund. And you can explain to them the communication way. For example, by using the natural environment by triggering wind. You can imagine my answer? My answer will be, see, the train ticket is too expensive. I cannot afford it. If you are watching the video and if you are one of the people which is interested in topics like body sharing and universal communication, well, the first thing you can learn from this video is all people which are able to communicate with ancestors by body sharing, which means that creatures which have lived as human beings before can travel into their human body, connect in symbiosis to their human body, and live in their human body. That means they can do what the human can do. So if the human is suffering or is broke, so unable to eat nice food, unable to drink nice drinks, unable to do social stuff like concerts and so on, that means for these creatures, as long as they are connected in symbiosis to that human body, they will suffer too. In my case, that means all the creatures which were connected in symbiosis to my human body and which lived in my human body for a short period or a longer period or maybe just a few hours, did suffer from my situation I'm in, because I'm broke. I often had the situation where creatures which have lived as human beings before wanted to do something. I always had to say no. I often had the situation that they wanted to drink something special. A glass of red wine I wouldn't buy, stuff like that. But I cannot afford it. Some creatures wanted really to go to a concert, this is also true, and I could not afford it. So it's not a situation where only I am in. No, it's a situation where all the creatures are in, which can connect in symbiosis to my human body and live in my human body for a short moment or a long while. And that's what the other humans, which are unable to communicate with creatures like them, should understand. It's an important point. Because if you want to help your own ancestors, ensure that the bodies they can use for communication purpose are doing well. Ensure that these humans, which are unable to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before, are not hungry. Ensure that they have the best food they need for a specific situation. Ensure that humans like me have the best drinks for a specific situation. And even if you do not like the human, think about the other creatures. which are otherwise going to suffer in that human body as long as they live in that, and as long as they're connected in symbiose with that human body, and as long as they're using, for example, the senses of the human body. So I published data for years, and I made a few points clear in my data. The first thing is, somebody please should contact me directly because I want to go to a party. And that's really what I wanted at that moment in time when I started to inform about universal communication, because I was so happy that I could see my mom again and that I was able to communicate with her. No one of the people did understand that, is what I think. At least nobody contacted me for a party. And I mean directly. I do not mean by singing about me, I do not mean by producing a video about me, no, I mean by calling my cell phone or writing me a message. Then I was in the situation, because I produced data so long and I was informing about universal communication and what creatures can do which have lived as human beings before, that I tried to explain to the public over my old Facebook account that they are able to use in symbiose my human body also to eat, drink, smell, stuff like that. No one of their family members, I think, have realized what that did mean to them. Because I had to live in a total fucked up situation at that moment in time. They were connecting in symbiose to my human body, using my senses, and I had to eat the last bullshit and I had to drink the last bullshit because I could not afford better stuff. Which means they were eating and drinking all that bullshit too by using my senses. So if you want to treat your own ancestors good, in case they ever travel to my human body or to one of the humans which are unable which are able to communicate with ghosts and which are able to prove that with data, for example. If you want to help creatures which have lived as human beings before to live a better life, and that more of these creatures which have lived as human beings before can reach living human family members of themselves, then you better should ensure that these people which are able to communicate with them live a good life and that they get everything they need to help. So I was broke. This is what I'm filming with a cell phone camera. I was so broke I could not even afford a cell phone in the beginning when I started to inform about universal communication because my one was broken. How should you document videos? So how should you produce documentation videos which are doing the documentation about universal communication if you do not have a cell phone, if you do not have a camera, if you do not have a microphone, if you do not have money to afford it? A lot of people realized at that moment in time when I started to inform about universal communication what I'm doing here. And there were some musicians singing about that. I was a little bit happy about that, honestly, and thank you to all the musicians which did sing about it. If I look back at the situation, and you might from your opinion judge it different, but if I look back at the situation, that did not help me. It's the truth. The truth is, regarding that music project which was going on in the past, I'm gonna move a little bit there now, that I requested help in the past, like a small party, small event, something like that, because I could not afford one. I requested also help to get better equipment, to get more cameras, to get more microphones, to them be able to produce better video material as proof for these creatures which have lived as human beings before and which want to reach their living family members. And I know a lot of people came in contact with my daughter, so they understood I'm informing about universal communication. and they were interested in it. Some of them were musicians, they even were singing about it. But see, that's the point I really do not understand. If you have a human like me, and he's saying, see, I can produce data with creatures which have lived as human beings before. And I would need cameras, I would need microphones, I would need other electronic equipment, for example, to measure an electric field, to measure the wind speed, to measure a lot of stuff for you, which you then can see later in the video material to understand everything better. I really do not understand why no one, and I really mean no one, from all these people which were singing about me, did contact me directly with a little support. And I mean that because it seems to me that a lot of them were very interested in learning more about universal communication. So, for example, if there's a teacher, let's say a teacher, and he's living in Cologne, and I want to learn something from the teacher, and the teacher is telling me, yeah, Niall, I can come. I even can come to your place, but I don't have the money for the bus ticket. What is intelligent for me to do as the first step? I'm going to send the money for the bus ticket if I do not want to travel to Cologne, for example. Which means, if I say, as somebody who can produce such data with creatures which have lived as human beings before, if I say I need better equipment, I need more and I need it soon, if people are interested in universal communication, and if they want to learn something about it, but they are unable to communicate by themselves with ghosts and creatures which have lived as human beings before. Hey, yo, people, what about the idea to give me better equipment and some money? Then I can inform you better about universal communication. That is easy, right? If that's easy, and you understood my situation a little bit, then do contact me. If you have enough money and you don't need all of that money, do send some, because I would need better equipment. I need now better equipment, like I needed better equipment already 3 years ago. I know I do inform about stuff and creatures which have lived as human beings before, so creatures from a place people call heaven. And I know heaven can be very complex, and I know there are a lot of theories about heaven, but to be absolutely honest, the most fucked up thing for me as somebody who can communicate with creatures from the so-called heaven is that living humans are not smart enough to understand easy things. Like I would need better equipment to make more stuff transparent. Like I would need money to help ancestors better to them reach their living family members. I'm really willing to help also in the future, but not if I do not get the support I need, because I need the support to then be able to work better for others. So I'm gonna keep going with informing about universal communication a little bit. But to be absolutely honest, I'm totally sad that I was informing about universal communication for a time period of 3 years now, or even more. And I communicated that easy things the whole time. As well as that I need equipment, as well as that I would need a backup, a team also, some people which are interested in universal communication, which would be willing to cooperate with me here where I am in Bonn. And I did not receive, well, I did receive one positive reaction from a woman called Sabina. Because she came to Bonn for a direct meeting and she left a little bit of money, which then did lead to a situation that I could buy microphones. I think that was that moment in time. And a little bit of money was only 150 euro. The fact is, if people would ask me, Niall, what do you need to inform us better about universal communication and about things the ancestors, our own ancestors, want to communicate to us in general. I would say I need some stuff. I need money. And more is better, not less. Because these are cheap cameras, I need more expensive cameras. I need cameras for the daytime and for the nighttime. I need better microphones which can capture the sound of the natural environment better and more specific. I need heat cameras, so temperature cameras. I need more and other medical equipment, and I need money to be able to travel. I need money to be able to eat good stuff instead of fucked up stuff as soon as creatures which have lived as human beings before are connected in symbiosis to my human body. Which is right now the case, by the way. But I'm speaking here, and that's what I'm speaking out for those people which do know more of my video material where I made body sharing transparent with medical equipment. Such medical equipment would be needed, more of that, better equipment. And also a very, very important point is, I would need a team. I would need some humans which are very interested in producing data, documenting data, which makes universal communication transparent. And I'm gonna upload this video. I really hope that some people keep it easy and that they maybe one guy or one woman will be smart enough to contact me and is capable of doing so to organize what I need. Because otherwise it makes my life unnecessary hard. And I have not lived always broke, which means I was not always a poor guy. A few years, if I think back, I think back now 6 years. I go back in my own lifetime. I was unable, 6 years ago, roundabout, I was unable to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ghosts. If I would have met somebody like me, who would have told me, see Niall, I can communicate, for example, with your grandma. I can help you to reach her, and I can make transparent to you what she's communicating towards you. And if I would have met such guy, and he would have told me, I need 5,000 euros for equipment or whatever, it wouldn't, like the 5,000 euro would have been on his table after 5 minutes, not longer. So I came into a situation here I cannot understand. I cannot understand why other humans which came in contact with my data are so stupid that they not put the focus there where it would be important to organize up for those humans which are able to communicate with ancestors, a kind of backup they need to make it them better transparent to the other humans which are unable to communicate with ancestors. I'm gonna upload this video, as I said. What I need is money, equipment, and a team. That's what this video is about. If I should help better to inform other humans about the methods creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ancestors can use to reach living humans and to communicate with them. I need money, I need a team, I need more equipment. Team, very important. Team means not people anywhere on planet Earth watching my video data. A team have to be where I am. At the same location, at the same spot. They have to help to document the stuff better so that I do not have to be focused on 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras. I don't even have 5, I just have 3 cheap ones. That I do not have to be focused on 3 cameras during I capture universal communication and make it transparent for people which are watching the videos. That's not the situation in this video, but that's what I want to make very clear. If you are interested in universal communication and you say to yourself you are very interested in it, but you are unable to communicate with ancestors. Why you are not here? It is not possible that you are so interested in it if you do not surround yourself with these people which can communicate with ancestors. It's that simple. It's maybe just not important for you. Not important enough. If you are interested in universal communication, and you know there are some humans which are able to communicate with ghosts, but you are unable to do so. What about the idea to support people like me much, much more? Much, much more. And now I want to say something intelligent. See, creatures which have lived as human beings before, they have worked in different jobs. Some of them have lived a very, very professional life as people working in the field of medicine, as people working as technicians, as so on, so on, so on. If humans in general would establish ways these creatures which have lived as human beings before can better communicate with living humans, then they would be able to communicate solutions for environment problems, health problems, so on, living humans do have on planet Earth. That's also a point I want that you, the people which are watching the video, start to think about it. Because as long as people like me do not get the support we need, we cannot help that these data, them, will exist on planet Earth for you. The people which are unable to do so by themselves. With all my data, all you have seen, if you have seen a lot of my data, I'm speaking to these people now. Some people have checked my data, have seen a lot of my videos and data. See, what you have seen is 1% of the stuff which would be possible with a team, with a backup, with money, with better equipment, and so on. What I could make transparent in the past years of my life were creatures which have lived as human beings before, do show themselves and present themselves in the area where I live every day. In that period of my life, the past years, I could make transparent a few % of that what's going on here. And one of the reasons is no team, and another reason is no equipment, no financial support. Regarding financial support, you, the people which are watching the video, you should understand, if you invest in that, which means you invest in me, that I then can use the money to inform better about universal communication, and that I'll be able to help creatures which have lived as human beings before better to reach their living family members. If you do invest in that, what do you really invest in? Think about that. If more humans would understand that creatures which have lived as human beings before do exist, even after they lost their human body, and if more people would understand the communication methods they can use. If you invest in such a project, what you really invest in, think about it. You invest in your own future, because you will have lost your human body one day. And if you then wake up in a situation where the most humans are unable to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before, with ghosts, because they cannot understand the communication methods the creatures can use to communicate with living humans. If you wake up as a ghost by yourself then, at that moment in time, you will realize, if you have not decided the right way, that will bring you into a situation where you are them in the future in the same situation the ancestors are in today. And this situation is often unnecessary, because creatures which have lived as human beings before can often communicate very easy with living humans. That's the truth. But if humans are not getting informed how they can see the communication, how they can understand it, then the ancestors stay unseen, unheard, in the eyes of these living humans. That's why it's so important to inform there a lot more and a lot better. So, if you are interested in universal communication, and if you have a little bit too much money, if you have time, please contact me. I need a team here, and I need some investors here for better equipment to them document universal communication much better, and to them be able to inform much better about universal communication. But also with the money, I would be able to help creatures which have lived as human beings before to travel with me to their living family members, where they then are able to communicate with their living family members directly. And that's what it's also for, where the money is gonna be spent for as soon as I get some. If you would ask me, I would tell you all of that is work for me, not fun. The most of that is how I look at that as work, not as fun, not as a private lifetime. I want people to understand that, because I think there were also some misunderstandings in the past. So thank you very much for watching. With this video, you're gonna see my post details, and you can send money just by post if you want to. So I'm gonna write down my postal details, and I'm gonna add it to the video. And thank you very much in case you're gonna spend some money, in case you're gonna send some money with the post. And I'm gonna inform as soon as I have received money how I did spend it, and what have been done with the money. If you then decide, okay, he spent my money good, you can send more. That's a good and fair and very transparent thing. Thank you very much for watching. Your Knight Sebastian Powersieger. And do not forget, I produced that video here because I need your support.